So you want to crunch with BOINC and you want to earn some GRC, but you don't want to buy GRC up front. Well, you've come to the right place because today we are going to walk through setting up Gridcoin on top of BOINC as a pool user. Now, a pool user is someone who doesn't want to buy Gridcoin right up front. And the reason you would need Gridcoin to do solo crunching is that with blockchain and the proof of stake consensus protocol that Gridcoin uses, you need Gridcoin in order to do something called staking a block. And in Gridcoin, when you stake a block, the earned research rewards that you have earned from crunching approved BOINC projects come to you through that block. Now, you don't really need to fully understand that. The bottom line is that in order to get your earned research rewards as a solo cruncher, you need about 5 to 10,000 GRC, which is what we currently recommend. I mean, it's based on probability. There's a lot more behind that, but essentially you need 5 to 10,000 GRC, and this is March 23rd, 2020, so those numbers change over time depending on a bunch of blockchain magic. If you want to learn about that magic, do join the community, watch some videos, or whatever you want to do to learn about it. It's really interesting stuff. But if you don't want to put down that money to get the GRC up front, currently that's probably like 10 bucks or something. It's not much. You can do pool crunching, and pool crunching is great. Essentially, you sign up for a pool which stakes a block for you. And when they stake a block, they get the GRC rewards and then distribute it to you and everyone else who's using the pool based on how much you have contributed to the computing projects. Now, the downside to pool crunching is you're not going to get any of your individual stats for BOINC. So you're not going to get the credits, you're not going to get the badges, you're not going to be able to join a team, but that's really about it. So it is possible to crunch enough with a pool that you get enough GRC to then go to solo crunching. And we'll cover how to make that transition in a future tutorial. Also, maybe you start crunching as a pool, you join the community, you get to feel for what Gridcoin is like, and then you decide, yeah, okay, I'm going to buy the Gridcoin and set up solo crunching so I can get those stats and make a team and whatnot. So if you want more information on all this stuff, I will say jump to gridcoin.science. Nice little podcast that goes over, it'll introduce you to blockchain concepts, why it's really neat, how we're going to try and use it to change how science works for the better. It talks about governance and voting, all the economics behind Gridcoin and whatnot. You can also go to gridcoin.world. Here's a bunch of resources and graphs, whatnot. Good place. And if you want to learn more about BOINC, go to boinc.network, also a podcast where we talk about BOINC projects and what's going on in that sort of distributed computing world. Now, let's get going. So, gridcoin.us. That is our home site for this tutorial. Here is the table that shows the differences between solo and pool crunching. I just described them all. Click the guide. Here you go. There are two pools currently set up, GRC Pool and Aricado Pool. Both are perfectly good pools. Here's the Aricado Pool, grc.aricado.ru. Here's the guide for how to set up BOINC with their pool. Today I'm going to set up with GRC Pool, just because this is the pool I'm familiar with already. So there's no reason other than that why I'm using GRC Pool. So that's what we're going to do first. We're going to sign up for GRC Pool. Go to the site, grcpool.com, click sign up, put in an email address. You're going to make a username. This username is going to be public, and you're going to refer to it in a little bit. And then you're going to set up a password. And I dare you to try and set up a password while talking. All right, traffic lights. Do these two count? Is this like the top of the light? No, that would just be mean. All right. Account's set up. Now you sign in. Shoot, see? I was about to say something and I screwed it up. You can set up 2FA later once you sign in. More traffic lights. Come on, guys. It's not very exciting. All right. Did I click it? There we go. All right, we're logged in. Beautiful. Now we're going to choose... Let's not choose a project yet because we're going to have to look at the whitelist. So we are going to download BOINC though. So we go to boinc.berkeley.edu. We click download BOINC. We're going to download BOINC. We're going to download BOINC. We are going to install BOINC. And there we go. All right. Let it do its magic. default directories, launch the BOINC manager. Now, this is going to be familiar if you looked at the Rosetta at Home tutorial where we set it up with Gridcoin as a solo cruncher. But here is where we start changing. Remember this page? Well, we're going to cancel it. I mean, sit around here and read the descriptions if you want. Get to know the BOINC projects, but do not sign up for one. Cancel. Now we're going to go to Tools, Use Account Manager. Down here, you're going to type in https://grcpool.com. You're going to click Next. It's going to talk to the GRC pool, make sure it exists. There you go. Now you're going to sign in with the username and password you just used to create an account at GRC Pool. So ours is Gridcoin for Science, and our password is, haha, did you think I'd tell you? I bet you did. I almost did, to be honest. All right, we're signing up. Now back at GRC Pool, you'll notice there's no host registered right now. So we just signed up and said finished. Awesome. Click Finish. Go back here. Let's refresh the page. Boom. It recognizes my computer. Awesome. Now we're going to click this. We're going to choose a project. So you click My Host. You click the host that just signed up. And you're going to choose a project. So right here you see a list of whitelisted projects. And we'll discuss the whitelist a little later in a future episode. But these are the projects you can crunch and earn Gridcoin for. What do you think we should do? I want to do a math project, really. Let's do Colette's conjecture. No, let's do amicable numbers. Sorry, Colette's. Amicable numbers is cute because you get the little heart necklace with the two amicable numbers and they go together, and it's a perfect Valentine's Day gift for next year. Keep it in mind. All right, so we chose our project. We clicked Add amicable numbers. I don't know what it is or anything, so I'm just like you. So I'm just going to say project settings. Done. Now we can add more projects and play with the resource share for each of them, but we're not gonna because we're just setting up one project here. Now we're gonna go back to the BOINC manager and we're gonna click Tools. We're gonna click Synchronize with GRC Pool. It is now gonna talk to GRC Pool, download the settings that we just put into place. I think that's the right way to say that. We're gonna click Finish. There we go. Projects. Amicable. Now we're going to go to Tools, Event Log, and see what's going on. All right. So my CPU apparently is being used a lot for probably recording this video. So I have the setting that says suspend work if non-BOINC CPU core exceeds 25%. That's my guess on why I'm not getting tasks yet. So what I'm going to do is what you should do anyway. Go to Options, Computing Preferences, and I'm going to set up my settings. This is just like if you're doing solo crunching. So sure, 100%, this is a crunching computer, 100%, 100%. Oh, I actually have suspend when computers in use ticked. Let's try that. Maybe I'm not over 25%, so I'll save that. I will click Update here. So when you click Update, your manager just connects to the server and tries to download tasks. Nope, okay, that didn't do it. Well, pending, requested by user. Let's give it another minute. All right, let's assume it's not that. It might be. I might just be not wanting. Oh, why is everything suspended by default? All right, well, I've just unticked everything. Let it run wild. Let's click Update again. There we go. Woo! So they're all 16 CPU tasks. And, oh, it's also got GPU work. All right. So it'll be doing what it's doing, right? You can play with the settings, and we'll go into this in future tutorials where maybe you want it running tasks that are only one CPU. I don't know if that's a project thing or a setting thing, but I will do some research for a future tutorial. But it's working. Hooray! So that's it. So now we're going to download Gridcoin. So we're going to go back to gridcoin.us. New notices. I'll check on that later. And we're going to scroll down to Windows and Linux, because that's what we're doing. Download. And we're going to get this 64. Alright, I get it. You don't need to be yellow at me. Jeez, so aggressive. Alright. There we go. More info. Run it anyway. Let it do its thing. Maybe grab a sip of water here. Launch it. Unintentional. Alright, now it's opening. Now if you watch the other tutorial, you'll remember this notification. The widget is going to come up, and if you're going solo, this is where you put your email address that you signed up for the BOINC project. But we didn't sign up for a BOINC project through an email. We used the GRC pool. So we're going to cancel this. And in the future, when we go solo crunching, because we've either bought GRC or earned enough, we are going to do essentially what this is saying. We're going to add our email to the config file, but we're not going to do that now. So here we go. My network is working today, so we've got active connections, and we're going to start downloading the blocks. So we're well over 1 million blocks at this point on the blockchain. So this is going to take a good long while to download all the blocks. At least a day, probably longer. But there's a secret. Up, up, down, down, left, no. You close the wallet, and you go back to gridcoin.us. You click Resources, and you click Official Snapshot. So when you're downloading the blocks, essentially what you're doing, well, what you are doing is downloading the blockchain. And essentially what you're doing is you're downloading a database. So we can download the database of you're downloading a ledger. We can download the ledger from the past, and then it only needs to finish the most recent, finish downloading the most recent blocks since what's called the snapshot was taken. So you're going to download this. I've already downloaded it through the magic of television. And it's going to take you 5 to 10 minutes to download it this way. But once you get it, you're going to go ahead and, no, there we go. Hop into your C drive, go to Users, go to your account, go to App Data. If App Data is not there, you're going to make sure that hidden items are visible. However, you got to do that on your operating system. Go to App Data, Roaming, Gridcoin, and this is where all the magical files for Gridcoin are saved. We're going to refer to this in future tutorials. Familiarize yourself with it. Don't change or delete anything though. So here we are, and now we are going to open that snapshot we just downloaded, take those files, copy them, and paste them right in this folder. Now this is going to take a little bit. I'm not going to sit here and make you watch me complete this, but I will be back about halfway through this transfer, and you'll see why. Alright, I hope you're having fun. So this pops up. You're going to replace the files. Alright, I'll be back at the end of the transfer. Here we go. 98, 99. The files are in the computer. Notice how big this file got. This is the blockchain. We're now 2 gigs. That is a very interesting part of the tech, by the way, if you want to get into it. Blockchain size, how to trim it, and how to make it so not everyone needs to download the full blockchain. There are much larger blockchains working on that issue, like Bitcoin and Ethereum. But that's for another day. Let's load Gridcoin back up. And you will notice, once it's loaded, that we have a lot of blocks already here. So we're not going to download nearly as many. It's still going to take a while to completely sync because the snapshot is not taken very often. It's taken probably every couple months. But I will sit here and let this load with you. You can sing a song, wash your hands. I don't know, get some orange juice. Go ahead and listen to a Fireside episode if you want. Look at that logo. Isn't it pretty? Yeah, I wonder who made that. Whoosh. Let's see if we're loaded. Nope, not yet. Yeah, you'll be able to click this and it'll pop up, but we can just minimize and see that it's still loading the blocks. we're not going to need this anymore. We can close out of it. Here's your config file that will be changing in the future, but for now we'll just close out of it. Maybe we'll go and look at some BOINC projects. What did we choose? Amicable numbers. Oh, this is one of those awesome BOINC projects that's just set up as someone who enjoys math and distributed computing. Probably doesn't have too many resources. Just sets up a server, lets people connect to it and get some work units and do some science with it. The TAC project is pretty new. I've never done TAC. Citizen Science Grid, Chinese Academy of Science, never done those actually. Climate Prediction. I wish this was a whitelisted project, but unfortunately it is not for some technical reasons. Einstein at Home is a favorite of mine. They're doing astrophysics, which I just find very interesting. A bunch of math projects. You got Purdue on here, Arizona State, number fields. Prima BOINC, the exclusive BOINC project that requires an invite code. Look at all these. Look at all these. Man, think about it. Anyone can make one. Get an open data set, write an application to analyze that data, and make yourself a BOINC project and have access to a crazy amount of computation, which they always keep updated on the main website. 28 petaflops. I saw that at 40 the other day. Boom. Hey, we're up and running. Okay. So now we're going to have to set up GRC Pool so that it will distribute its Gridcoin to us. You can tell it's still syncing, but look at that number. That is much higher than 250. So it will be there soon. Maybe overnight or something. But we can still do stuff with a blockchain even when it's syncing. That is part of the magic with blockchain. It's a pretty cool thing. So back at grcpool.com, we're going to go to our account, click your username. Here's where you can see all your settings, your earned GRC, your owed. So if you earn it, but it doesn't distribute all of it at once, then you'll have some owed GRC. So we are going to click this, and we're going to put in a GRC address. So this is just personal preference in terms of setting up a new address. But to set one up, you go open Gridcoin, click receive. You could use this address. I just like keeping things nice and tidy. So I'm going to do GRC Pool, and it will make me a new address. And I will only use this address for GRC Pool. And then if I want, let's say Carl, coins from Carl. There you go. I have a whole nother address. I'm going to give that address to Carl, and any coins that go to that address, I know came from Carl. It's a pretty useful thing here. Anyway, here's my GRC Pool address. Right-click it, click copy, paste it here. This is something you'll get in the habit of after using blockchain for a while. Always double check. You don't need to read all the numbers, but read like the beginning. All right, those match, and read the end, those match. Okay. Then you put in your password here. The reason you always double check is there is some malware out there that will actually man in the middle your copy paste. So you copy this and then you paste here and it pastes a different address. So the way you stop that one is, first of all, don't click links you're not familiar with. Second of all, just double check every time. Simple. Put in your password, click the check mark, GRC address. There you go. You're done. Boom. Hands off. Hands off the keyboard. Go to bed. So you're going to continue crunching your work. Wow, look at this thing go. You're going to complete the task, send it to amicable number servers. They're going to use it in some way or another. And the pool will keep track of how much you've crunched, and it will then stake a block and get your GRC. And every so often, it will send that GRC to you. I don't know the ins and outs of the pool and when it distributes to you, because I do not use the pool. But the Arakawa pool is going to be a very similar setup. And the settings, like when they distribute, it's up to the pool manager. So who knows? And sometimes a pool might take a management fee, so it's going to be like 0.01% or something like that. I don't think either of these pools take a fee. But if the number of pools increases, maybe something will happen where sort of an economy gets built based around pools. But I think that's it. That's all I want to do. Oh man, did anyone catch what I forgot to do here? I forgot to encrypt my wallet. highly, highly recommended that you encrypt your wallet. It's just putting a password on your wallet. Um, so here we go. Uh, let's use this one. Okay. Now, you're not going to lose this password, right? You're not going to lose it. You're going to write it down. You're going to put it in a safety deposit box. You're going to memorize it. That would be ideal. And you're just not going to get hit in the head. And the reason for this is if you lose your passphrase, you will lose your coins. There is no way to recover a password. Some people think this is a flaw of the blockchain and cryptocurrency space. Some people think it might teach folks to be a little more responsible with their money. Whichever side of the fence you fall on, the reality is don't lose your password. Encrypt. All right, when you encrypt, the wallet closes. You just need to load it back up. And we'll sit through here. This time when it's loading, how about we take a look at the Gridcoin whitelist. So to do that, you go to gridcoin.us, you go to guides, go project whitelist, and here are all the BOINC projects we will reward GRC for. The reason we do this, there are several. The reason I like is that it creates a need for projects to teach a network why their science is worthwhile. We have a limited amount of GRC that the protocol mints every day, and we distribute that to every BOINC project. We split it up evenly. That has some incentives to it. It makes people sort of spread out computations across all the projects, no matter how popular they are. Like World Community Grid, this is not in alphabetical order. World Community Grid is run by IBM. They have funds, they have a great website, they have a very, very large community. They can advertise. Someone like Amicable Numbers, actually, who is, I think, just run on a laptop in a closet somewhere, it doesn't have resources to advertise. So if it just came down to a free market thing, World Community Grid could monopolize that fairly quickly, in my view. So the way we incentivize everyone to spread out their crunching power means that Amicable Numbers is going to get the same crunching power as World Community Grid. You can't just say, hey, we're solving we have a cure to balding, come crunch our science, and then get all the crunching power because that's like a sexy science for some reason. Even foundational science and mathematics get the same focus as the super sexy science. Some people argue against it, some people advocate for it, but that's the beauty of open source communities. You have to have these discussions. But that's the way it is currently. And so these projects need to convince Gridcoin as a network, all the people in Gridcoin, to whitelist their project and let them have a slice of that pie. So it forces everyone in the Gridcoin network, whenever there's a new project up for whitelisting, to learn about the science they're doing. What is Numberfields doing? Why should we whitelist them? Is it worthwhile science? Teach us, Numberfields, why your science is worthwhile. Why is it worthy of incentivization? It's a pretty cool indirect effect of the whitelist, in my opinion. Reloaded? We are. All right. So here we go. We're encrypted. This will pop up once you're encrypted. You're going to. You don't really need to do this actually because you don't need to stake at all. But if you did have GRC in here, you could unlock it for staking. If you want to send GRC, you untick that and unlock it, and then be sure to encrypt it afterwards. So I'm not going to unencrypt it. You'll notice that when you're crunching with the pool, this is going to say investor, which I hope we change in the future to something like pool. But that won't say your CPID. It's the the base thing there. So you're not going to get your magnitude. That's going to be held by the pool. But that's it. So you are all set up. You don't need to send a beacon. You don't need to do anything else. You can leave this here and it will sync. You just minimize it. And that's it. So I hope you enjoyed this tutorial. I hope I didn't go too fast, too scatterbrained, but I think we got through it pretty all right. We are all set up with GRC Pool. We're all set up with the client. We are still crunching away on the project we want. So in the future, we'll add some more projects, and then in the future, we'll set up our wallet as a solo cruncher because we will have gotten some GRC. So I look forward to seeing you then. Until then, happy crunching, everybody, and wash your hands.